Russia has expanded its offensive towards western Ukraine, firing missiles near the city of Lviv and hitting a large military base close to the Polish border. This latest attack has reportedly claimed dozens of lives and has drawn the war closer to the borders of Nato. This is the Lviv Oblast, a strategic region in the most westernmost part of Ukraine, bordering Poland. And this is the International Centre for Peacekeeping and Security, which has been bombed by Russia, killing 35 people. Ukraine and its NATO partners often use this as a base for training and exercises, and many foreign instructors work at the military base. More than 100 people were rushed to hospital following the attack. This centre is just 20 kilometres away from the Polish border, and according to local officials, Russian planes fired cruise missiles over the Black Sea and Sea of Azov.
According to preliminary data, more than 30 missiles were fired. The air defense system worked. A number was shot down. The Yavoriv landfill came under attack.
Lviv's position in the west of Ukraine has made the city a key hub. NATO has been using the region for both humanitarian and military aid and has already been stationed defensive deployments at all points bordering Ukraine. With Russian missiles hitting Poland's backyard, NATO is concerned that Russia is pushing the war to NATO's doorstep. Western allies have condemned the attack, with the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken tweeting that the brutality must stop. Britain has called it a significant escalation by the Kremlin, while Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has issued a grim warning to NATO members as well. He once again has called on the Western alliance to impose a no-fly zone over Ukraine, saying the failure to do so may lead to Russian missiles falling on NATO territory and NATO citizens.
І зараз я повторюю знову, якщо ви не закриєте наше небо, то це лише питання часу, коли російські ракети впадуть вже на вашу територію, на територію НАТО, на домівки громадян країн НАТО. Сьогодні у Київській області був убитий американський журналіст Брент Ренол. Його колега поранений. Це був свідомий напад російських військових. Вони знали, що вони роблять, але, схоже, не всі на Заході знають, що вони роблять.
Meanwhile, the Russian Defense Ministry has dismissed all claims of escalation, saying that its forces used high-precision, long-range weapons in its strike, which aimed to destroy Ukrainian arms cache and kill up to 180 foreign mercenaries, and that the Russian forces will continue to do so.
Утром 13 марта высокоточным оружием большой дальности нанесен удар по учебным центрам Вооруженных сил Украины, в населенном пункте Старичи и на военном полигоне Яворовский. На данных объектах киевским режимом были развернуты пункт подготовки и боевого слаживания иностранных наемников перед отправкой в районы боевых действий против российских военнослужащих, а также база хранения поступающего от зарубежных стран вооружения и военной техники. В результате удара уничтожены до 180 иностранных наемников и крупная партия иностранного вооружения. Уничтожение прибывших на территорию Украины иностранных наемников будет продолжено.
Well, our correspondent Giles Gibson joins us live from Riga, Latvia now. Giles, just give us a sense of how NATO is seeing this attack near Poland's border. Are we expecting any kind of response?
Yeah, Laura, no specific response from NATO headquarters in Brussels to this attack right on the border with that member of NATO, Poland. of course, there is just so much symbolism in this attack, because we had reports coming in on Sunday that actually people living inside Poland just over the border felt their windows rattling, their houses shaking. Such was the ferocity of these strikes on that military base just over the border inside Ukraine. Also, of course, this base has actually, within the last 6 months, hosted military drills with NATO forces, so a huge amount of symbolism in this attack by the Russians. We've been hearing, of course, throughout this invasion from Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, calling for there to be a no-fly zone established over the entirety of Ukraine, in many ways to protect the country, but also to protect those humanitarian corridors that have been set up. But also throughout this invasion, we've been hearing from Jens Stoltenberg, the Secretary General of NATO, that really they want to avoid any sort of a situation where they have NATO planes in the skies over Ukraine potentially engaging directly with Russian fighter planes.
And Giles, officials from Russia and Ukraine are set to start a fourth round of talks now. Is there any hope there might be a breakthrough?
Well, we've been hearing from both sides about their conditions, about what they're looking to get out of this latest round of negotiations. The Ukrainians saying that they want to see a ceasefire, they want to see the immediate withdrawal of Russian troops from Ukrainian soil, as well as security guarantees. Not clear exactly what they're looking for there. On the Russian side, they are making some pretty big demands. They're asking for the Ukrainians to recognise Crimea as Russian territory. They also want the Ukrainian government to recognise the independence of these two breakaway regions in eastern Ukraine. We have to say that that is almost an impossible demand. It is very unlikely that the Ukrainians would agree to effectively hand over territory that they believe to be sovereign Ukrainian territory. And also, I mean, just if you look back over the different rounds of talks, really the only thing that they've managed to agree on so far is setting up these humanitarian corridors. Those have been working, at times a little bit, if best, but they've just been so badly disrupted by Russian airstrikes and by artillery shelling. So it is really hard to see, even if the two sides manage to agree a ceasefire, how long that would actually last for.
Giles Gibson from Latvia, thanks very much.